Hi, Taurus. So I am Jody with Soul Purpose Tarot, and I want to thank you for stopping by. I guess the 1st of October, my comments said, keep your business to yourself. So it seems like maybe somebody's sticking their nose in where they don't belong. I don't know whether it's you or whether it's somebody else. But I'm going to see if maybe what's going on right now. Normally what I do is I pull 4 or 5 cards out from the tarot deck, check the energy, see if we're talking about love or life or career or health or whatever. And then I can kind of go from there and decide what exactly is, going on with you guys. So the first card that came out was the Knight of Cups in reverse. So it feels like there is some unbalanced emotions going on right at the moment. Otherwise, that would be in the upright position. So maybe something with love or emotions is not currently in the upright position. So you're out of balance there for sure. Let's see, Taurus, mid-October, last 2 weeks of October. What have you got for me? Someone's being stubborn. I can't get any cards to come out. Dang, Taurus. What is going on with you? All right, there's 4 cards. I'm going to take them all, but for some reason I feel like I need to pull one more. There's another one, and there it is. Another one wants to come out. So let's see what we got going on. Okay, so we already said we've got the King of Cups in the upright position. So somebody is not emotionally balanced and something's not going right. The next one is the 5 of Swords, and this feels like somebody's ready to brawl about something. It feels like somebody's been holding something in, and it just feels like there's like a pot that's about ready to boil over. It's like somebody's been holding their tongue and holding their tongue and holding their tongue and watching something inappropriate or knowing something inappropriate or something has been going on, and all of a sudden you are ready to let her rip and you're about ready to say something that's bothering you. You've held it in as long as you can and you're ready to get it out into the open. That being said, if this is a female that's watching this, Venus went into retrograde earlier in October, and since Venus affects women, one of the readings I was watching, she said it's kind of like the universe, all the women in the universe are on their period or their cycles, and that the men needed to be careful, and she felt sorry for them because a lot of the women are going to be really bitchy and cranky. So if you're a woman that's watching this, or a feminine, that might be where this is at. It's like you've held it in, and you're ready to blow. And Venus in retrograde is probably helping that happen. Something similar like that happened in my life. I wrote a 6-page letter to somebody on Friday, and then I heard about all of the stuff that was probably going to happen, and I was like, well, apparently I am right on schedule. So the next one that came along is the Queen of Wands. Let me think here. So you feel strong in your ideal. Okay, so this feels like you're like, I know I'm right. The other person is wrong. I'm not going to back down, and I'm going to, tell them my ideas. Maybe this is something to do with work. It's like somebody has been stepping over their boundaries at work with you, and you've put up with it long enough, and you're like, I've got ideas of how to make things better, and and nobody wants to listen to me, and I'm going to make sure they listen to me this time. So it's like you're getting ready to step up and step into your power, and this fight or this feeling of a fight that is going on within you feels like that's what's prompting this whole thing is you need to share your ideas about something. The next one that came up was the Eight of Cups in the reverse position. So that just means that emotions are all over the place. To me, you know, I mean, if they're in the upright, they're still scattered all over the place. It's like some are up, some are down, but it was in the reverse. So it's still a spilling of emotions, and it feels a little bit like you feel a little bipolar. And that's maybe one of the reasons why you haven't said anything. It's like one day you charge in and you're like, I'm ready to let her rip, and I'm ready to let him hear my ideas and my thoughts. And then the next day you're like, oh my God, I can't do that. Oh my God, I can't do that. And then the next day you go in and you're ready to do it. And so you're wishy-washy about whether to say anything and all of that stuff. You're fearful. So you can say what you need to say without making a bunch of people mad. And write it out in a letter or something. Put your ideas on paper, and maybe that's what your concern is. Your concern is that you are very emotional and very passionate about whatever this subject or idea is that you have, and because you're feeling so emotional about it that you're afraid you're going to walk into the boss's office or whatever and you're going to bust out crying, and you're kind of like, I can't do that, I can't do that. So one way that you can express your whatever is write it out in a letter, very unemotional, facts, and then give it to them. And keep your emotions out of it. And if you can't be in the room while that is all going on because your emotions are going to bubble over, you can still get your point across without, you know, having the tears flowing and feeling like an idiot after it's all said and done. I feel like that's one of the things that stops you from doing it, is because you're very, very emotional about this whole thing, and you're afraid you're going to have a meltdown, especially if they don't receive it well. The next one that comes in is a Wheel of Fortune. This to me is a destiny card. So this feels like this is a major, major lesson that you are learning right now about standing up for yourself, about letting people know your feelings and controlling your feelings at the same time, because maybe in the past you haven't been so good at controlling your feelings and you know how you are. So the Wheel of Fortune is things are turning in your favor. This is a major life lesson that you are going through, and it's going to happen eventually, because you're only going to take the shit for so long. So you're going to let her rip eventually, whether it's this week or 2 weeks down the road or 2 months down the road. It's coming. It's coming. Just know that it's coming. And then the last one that showed up was the Ace of Wands, and that's where you want to be, is new beginnings. So once you get through all of this stuff and the Wheel of Fortune turns and you move forward into that next cycle, then you're starting a new cycle, and new ideas and freshness comes in. So I feel like that's where you want to be, is you want to be like, okay, I've got that out. And they accepted it well, and so it's time to move on. So to me, it feels like you're the one that's stopping you from moving forward, but when you do, it's going to work out in your favor, and it's going to be okay. Just take a chill pill and, you know, try not to sound like you're batshit crazy when you're trying to tell them what you want to express. That is half the battle sometimes, is just being able to tell somebody what you want them to know without sounding emotionally off balance. And I understand, you know, that's why they always say, don't send a text when you're mad. Don't write a letter when you're mad. Write it out, and then maybe the next day relook at it and see if you're feeling that same way. Because when I was younger, I know that I would get really upset and I'd fire something back, and then the next day I had totally calmed down and I wasn't feeling that anymore. I kind of learned a few of those lessons not too long ago. So So yeah, just take the emotion out of it. And if you have to sleep on that text or that message or that letter or whatever until the next day and relook at it and make sure you've taken the negative emotion out of it, then do that. You're going to get a lot farther if you do it that way. So let's see what, I'm doing mixed emotions cards right now. Let's see if we can get, let me think. Trying to think what cards. This is all to, it feels like this is all to do with work, but not necessarily work. I mean, it could be a romantic relationship that needs to have a blow up too. Let's just see. I guess let's just see some of the emotions that you go through that, you know, you're afraid that's going to bubble up. Some emotions that you're dealing with, because it does feel like you're kind of all over the place. And let's see if we can get to the root of that issue and see if any of that resonates for any of you. Here. This one came up, and it came up in the reverse position, but the thing that came to me was it feels like so you are grieving about a job promotion that you didn't get, or you're grieving about something that didn't work out the way that you wanted it to, and that's one of the reasons you're really honked off and ready to fire in there with something. Is that's one of the reasons you're upset. It's kind of like you thought you deserved a job promotion and you weren't the one that got it, and you're kind of like mad at yourself because you wished you had stepped up sooner, but at the same time it's like you feel like you're being taken advantage of. So all right, let's see what we got. Mixed emotions, depressed, empty, numb, and withdrawn. But I don't feel, but it was in the reverse position. So I feel like that's why you're not feeling sad. You're feeling like super anxious, and that's why you're scared, is you're going to come in and you're going to be like overexcited and say the wrong thing because you're very passionate about this. And resistant, rebellious, defensive, and closed. So you're not closed anymore, and it was in the reverse position. All of these came in the reverse position, which is weird. So you're not feeling depressed or resistant, compassionate. You're trying to feel compassionate about maybe the person that got the job and trying to see their side of it, but you're still really mad because you felt like you deserved that promotion and you weren't the one that got it. And then there's part of you that's afraid that, you know, would you be able to handle it if you had have gotten that promotion? So it's kind of like you're questioning yourself, is like, be careful what I ask for. You know, do I really want that management position or whatever? And so you're second guessing yourself. And I feel like it all has to do with self-worth issues. Is you question, you know, it's like you're questioning yourself, is like, why didn't I get it? You know, I must not be good enough. And then you're like, if I got it, would I be good enough? And so you just have a lot of self-worth, confidence issues. And I feel like that's probably why you didn't get that job promotion, or you weren't the one that got picked in the end for whatever, you know, whether it was a relationship or whatever. It feels like your lack of confidence and your self-worth issues people could see, and that's why you didn't get to move forward. And you're feeling a lot of grief and angst about that. And so the only thing that's going to help that is if you get over that and get some confidence back in. I'm not sure if there's something specific that caused you to question your self-worth lately, or if this has always been a problem. But if it has always been a problem, that's going to affect you in every stage of life, whether it's relationships, work relationships, love relationships, you know, figuring out where that lack of self-worth and self-love comes from. Trust me, I've been working on that my whole life. I get better all the time. I mean, I still get triggered occasionally. Sometimes you think you've got it all figured out, and then something wham hits you from the back. So it's a process, that's for sure. I'm going to do, these are the whispers of healing, and see if your guides, oversoul, whoever has any advice of things that you could do to get over this feeling of inadequacy is what it feels like. There's a lot of feelings of inadequacy revolving this whole, maybe that's the title of this, feelings of inadequacy, feeling inadequate. And if they've got any advice on things that you can do to help heal that feeling. Man, these cards are big. They're hard to shuffle. All right, Taurus, second half of October. What words of advice of healing do you have for Taurus? Second half of October. I'm hearing this voice, like all of them. Well, I'm not going to go through all of the cards. So I just went 3 top ones. I'm taking that one. For some reason, that one feels like it wants to pop out. And that one. All right, let's see what it says here. Growth. Okay, so this goes along with the Wheel of Fortune. This is all about growth. This is all about learning lessons, soul lessons. So you're being brought to this whole thing in order to grow and grow out of that inadequate feeling that you are having. So I feel like that is very clear what's going on here. Forward movement. And along with the Wheel of Fortune is forward movement. So this is a major learning lesson that is popping up here. And once you get through this whole thing, I think you are going to feel so much better for so many reasons. It's because you finally spoke your feelings. You weren't holding them in. And this is a major, and it, like this 45 is on this card, which is a 9, which is completion. So this is a completion cycle that you are going through in order to move to the next stage of your life. And the last card is hidden blessings. So even though it feels like a struggle right now, this is truly a blessing in disguise. And there's going to be, I feel like after this whole thing gets taken care of, I feel like November is going to be a whole new month, and it's going to be major movement forward and major growth coming like really super fast, because you're right at the bubbling point. You're almost ready to start boiling and change into a whole different dynamic of a person. Your confidence is going to soar once you get this off your chest and you say what needs to be said. And I think they're going to respect you for finally getting up the courage to do that. Again, if you are mad because you didn't get the promotion, I feel like it's because they could see within you that you had those feelings of inadequacy, and you can't be that way when you're running the ship. I mean, you got to feel like you can do it and have confidence about it, or at least show that you do if you don't feel like that inside. So I think there's some growing lessons coming. Anyway, again, I'm Jody with Soul Purpose Tarot. I thank you for stopping by. If you look in the comments below, my email is there. And if you'd like to have a personal reading or anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you first part of November. Thanks.